pursuing my PhD from Thapar Institute of Engineering and Technology. My area of research is product placement. I, along with my co-authors, Dr. Rakesh Kumar Sharma and Dr. Apoor Bakshi, have written a paper entitled Students' Attitudes Towards Product Placement, an Indian Perspective. This is going to be my presentation flow. I'll just give a brief introduction about product placement. Then I'll talk about the statement of problem, the objectives of the study, literature review, where I've cited some relevant papers, my research model, the methodology that I followed, the results that I've obtained, conclusion, and in the end, I give a list of references. So before I talk about product placement, I would like to give a quick overview of marketing strategies. Marketing strategies basically fuel the growth of an organization, and the marketing mix decisions revolve around 4 P's. They are product, place, price, and promotion. Promotion includes all the communications regarding the brand or product that are directed towards the consumers. This can be done through advertising, public relations, loyalty programs, event sponsorships, internet marketing, etc. So out of these, advertising is one of the most important aspects of promotions. Brands strive to increase their sales through advertising. So product placement is basically a covert advertising technique. So where branded products are placed in the media content while focusing on the name or the logo. The most widely used media for product placement include movies, music videos, television shows, and video games. So the first image that you see here is the placement of an Apple laptop. The actor can be seen using an Apple laptop where the logo is clearly visible. The second image is placement of Coca-Cola tumblers. This is a still from an American television reality show, American Idol. The third is the placement of Mercedes car in a video game called Mario. So all these examples are of visual placement. Placements can also be done through audio mode, where the name of the brand or the product is there in the lyrics of a song or in the dialogues that are delivered by the actor or a character. So the practice of placing products was started in 1950s with the intention of increasing the realism of content, but today it has become a multi-billion industry. Product placement has the potential to exploit global reach. For instance, there is a huge viewership for Hollywood movies in India. Likewise, Indian movies also enjoy a large audience overseas. And we can see brands like Apple, Ray-Ban, Mercedes, BMW being placed in Indian as well as foreign movies and other media outlets. Product placement is generally a paid practice where the brands pay a certain price to the producers or the makers to ensure that their product is placed there. So this is beneficial for both the parties, that is the brand as well as the overall cost of production, and it gives a huge exposure to the brand in question. Coming to the statement of problem. Product placement is not a new technique, but marketers do not have adequate knowledge about consumers' attitude towards this practice and what are the different factors that influence consumers' attitude towards product placement. Very few studies have examined the effect of individual difference factors and socialization factors on consumers' attitudes towards product placement. And whatever studies have been conducted in the developed markets, say the USA or the European countries. There is a paucity of research in the emerging market context. India, as to say, is a country where product placement is gaining a lot of momentum, especially in the recent years, but we do not have a lot of studies on this practice in the Indian context. So coming to the objectives, to address the issues that I've talked, the present study focuses on attitude towards product placement in movies. The study examines the impact of individual difference factors and socialization agents on students' attitude towards product placement. Specifically, we have taken two socialization factors. The first one is the media consumption, and the second one is peer communication. And the second objective was to conduct this study in an emerging market. So we focused on the Indian students because there are very few studies in India. So these are some of the relevant articles that I'll be discussing. Brissoud and Lehoux in 2009 conducted a study in France. They found that respondents with lower education level demonstrate more favorable attitudes than respondents with higher education level. The same results were obtained by a study by Gregorio and Sung in 2010. The same researchers have also examined the impact of age, and they found that younger respondents show more favorable placement attitudes than older respondents. They also found that females have more positive attitude towards product placement in comparison to the male counterparts. However, there was no significant effect on income level in these studies. Gregorio and Sung in 2010 found that peer communication, which is an important socialization agent, is positively related to attitude towards product placement. They also found a positive relationship between frequency of movie viewing and consumers' attitude towards product placement. In 2006, Nelson and Devnath conducted a study. They studied the effect of product placement in movies, especially on the Indian diaspora. They found that brand consciousness is positively related to attitude towards product placement. In 2004, Nelson et al. Conducted a study with gamers as their respondents, and the gamers were from USA. They found that the attitudes toward advertising is significantly related to attitude towards product placement. So people who have positive attitude towards advertising in general have a more positive attitude towards product placement strategies. So this is my research model. Frequency of media exposure and peer communication are the two socialization agents that we've taken in this model. Demographics, brand consciousness, and attitude towards advertising are the individual difference factors that we've taken. And we are examining the effect of all these factors on attitude towards product placement. Coming to the methodology, college students spend a lot of time watching movies, and marketers these days are trying to target college-going students as they are brand conscious. Thus, the present study used college students as the respondents. A total of 350 students participated in this study, and we used convenience sampling technique for this study. Sometimes we see that there is a lot of criticism when it comes to convenience sampling technique, but this is the technique that has been followed in the previous studies or the existing studies, and this is the most popular sampling technique when it comes to product placement studies. Coming to the research instrument, that is the questionnaire. This questionnaire was designed in English, and all these scales were adapted from the existing studies. Demographic information of the respondents was captured, and then they were asked about the number of movies they watch in a particular month on an average basis. Then attitude towards product placement was measured with 13 items, and these items were adapted from a study conducted by Gupta and Gould in 1997. Peer communication was measured with 5 items. This was, again, the scale was adapted from Kwon and Jung. The study was conducted in 2013. Brand consciousness was measured using 4 items, and the items were adapted from Nelson and Devnath. The study conducted in 2006. Attitude towards advertising was measured with 8 items, and those items were similar to the ones used by a study conducted by Nelson et al. In 2004. All these items were measured on a 5-point scale where the respondents had to rate each item from 1 to 5. 1 was strongly disagree and 5 was strongly agree. Coming to the results section, this table shows the descriptive stats and the construct reliability. The reliability was assessed by Cronbach alpha coefficient. The instrument was reliable as the Cronbach's alpha coefficients were greater than 0.7 for all the constructs. We used multiple regression, that is stepwise multiple regression, to obtain our results. As we can see that the various inflation factor, that is the VIF values, were less than 3. This indicates that there was no problem of multicollinearity in our model. Again, if we look at the tolerance value for all the constructs, it was greater than 0.5, which suggests an absence of multicollinearity. And as we can see for peer communication, the T-stats is significant at 1%. Again, brand consciousness is significant at 1%, and the same goes for attitude towards advertising. This is also significant at 1%. We know that the maximum acceptable T value for 1% is 2.58. So all the values for peer communication, brand consciousness, and attitude towards advertising are greater than, the T values are greater than 2.58, and these are significant at 1%. So from all the constructs that we've taken, peer communication, brand consciousness, and attitude towards advertising have a significant impact on attitude towards product placement. So this shows the effect size for the model. In this model, the F value, which is 26.528, is significant at 1%. R square value is 38%, 38.7%. The R square value indicates the effect size. So it represents the change in the dependent variable due to the independent variables. And as we know that the adjusted R square value is slightly less than the R square value. The Durbin-Watson model is close to 2. It is 1.934. It shows the model fit. So we had 5 hypotheses related to the 5 variables. The only significant ones were peer communication, brand consciousness, and attitude towards advertising. These factors had a significant impact on attitude towards product placement. So the rest of the hypotheses were rejected. Coming to the conclusion and implications of our study, we found that attitude of respondents was fairly positive towards the practice of product placement. So they said that it increases the realism of the content. So products should be woven seamlessly into the content for a more realistic appeal. They should not look out of place, and it should not interfere with the narration of or the plot of the movie or the other media outlet that they are placed in. Since we found that individual difference factors and socialization factors have a significant impact on attitude towards product placement, these factors should be kept in mind while designing the product placement strategies. Out of the 2 socialization factors that we took for our study, peer communication had a significant impact on attitude towards product placement. Therefore, marketers should find a way to increase peer communication. When students or people communicate with their peers regarding the brands placed in movies, there is a higher probability of them buying those brands or products. So these are the references that I've used for our study, and thank you for listening.
Thank you for your presentation. I would request if any participants would like to ask any questions or any doubts you guys would have. Thank you, madam. You can stop sharing the presentation.
Thank you so much, ma'am.